want to thank you for joining me today. You know, it's important for me to pass on what I've learned, and learned a lot of times the hard way. But before I start, I want to ask you a few questions. First, have you ever felt like an encyclopedia that you were always required to have the information that they needed? Or were you ever feeling like a piece of furniture? You know, you were passed over for the promotion without even being touched? Or have you ever felt that you aren't a member of the team? You never had a voice in how major decisions were made. You know, I could go on and on. You know, I'm sure you can come up with other places where you didn't get the results you want. I sure can. And I sure have gone through a lot of these things. So, let me tell you my story, how I went through these things and what happened. My name is Susan Carson. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a mom, but foremost, I'm a scientist. I founded Smart Leadership Coaching with the goal of working and helping people who are like me. You know, us left-brain scientific and technical professions. And my vision is that by working with you, sharing some of the things that I've learned and doing it in a language that we understand, I can help you too become more of a person of influence. I don't care if it's about influencing your life, influencing your job, just that you're not just a passive knowledge peddler. So let me tell you how I started. I started out like most of us did. I was a smart kid, a little bit of a smart aleck, but a smart kid. I skipped 2 grades. I graduated high school at 15. And my family always used to look at me like, oh, Susan knows the answers. Susan can figure out how to put this together. But you know something? All during my growing up, I never felt like I was a part of. I was socially okay. I fit into the group. Well, I went on to get my PhD in biochemistry and then pursued a postdoc in an area of clinical chemistry and toxicology. So, as usual, the learning was fun. I loved learning. And you know, it was the first time in my life where I could take the basic biochemistry that I learned and actually put it towards helping people. For example, assisting in a patient who's recuperating from an OD on acetaminophen. I needed to use my pharmacokinetics to plot the course of what was going to happen. So, I was never treated, though. I was never treated like one of the guys. I was never involved in the fun stuff. And in fact, when I went on to look for my job after the 2 years of postdoc, I got no help. The guy who was in the program with me got the great help. But he was one of the good old boys. So, it still made no sense. But the only way I could rationalize it was by saying that it was something in me. So I moved on to a different environment. After my postdoc, I moved into hospital work. I knew so much. I could help people. I could continue. So at least one part of my life was being fulfilled. I, in fact, even worked with the police. And I worked with them, I'll never forget, on a series of arsenic poisonings by your classic housekeeper. And in fact, I got to be known as the poison lady by the local police department. So I did a lot. I could write an SOP on a new instrument. I could run be a beta site for a major new medical instrument put out by a global manufacturer. I could do all those things. But I never could move to the next level. There was something missing. It made no sense. I knew everything. I listened. I learned. I could do it all. I could work night shift, day shift, whatever. It didn't matter. And it really did matter. So, you know, good scientist I am, something was missing. Where is it missing? I'm watching all these other people moving ahead. It had to be me. So I rationalized it. I said, maybe it's the environment. So after several years, I moved on to work in corporate America. I joined a global pharmaceutical company in a great job in business development. It was my role to take certain potential in-licensing candidates look at them, study their biology, whatever, and produce a document and make a presentation whether this was go or no go. And if they said, okay, in fact, my first one was infectious disease, which I knew nothing about. 3 days later, I knew all about it. And it went on and on and on. And you know what? That was fun. I was learning, I was putting pieces together. That's who I was. It was a dream job for a knowledge peddler. But you know corporate life. You don't stay in one spot. You completely shift. You know, the only people who make money, people who make the new business cards. So I moved from business development, I moved into marketing at some point, I was in clinical research, I was in medical affairs. So I learned a lot about a lot of different areas. But I kept seeing the same thing. The people who are moving ahead, people who get the prizes, get the promotions, who didn't know half as much as I did, but they must have known something. And I said, maybe I don't know everything. So I started taking management classes. You know, the ones where you learn that if you're a type A, this is how you work with the type Z person, all of them. But these programs didn't stick with me. Maybe it was a language barrier. They didn't fit into my world. You know, they were talking about this soft stuff, this what I call foo-foo stuff. It didn't make sense. Or so I thought. So I said, okay, time to change the environment again. So I did. I started my own business. I became an executive recruiter. I work with people like me. I work with hiring managers who were hiring these strong scientific professionals. And I began to see something, that underneath all the requirements, we all know job descriptions, there was something more. I could see that a hiring manager would pick one candidate over another, not because of the requisite skills, but there was something else going on. And the more and more I work with hiring managers and I work with candidates, all of a sudden, all those courses I took started having an impact. I was starting to interpret those soft skills into areas of my world, the world of science and technology. So they had a reason to be there. And I developed, or I found, or I discovered what my purpose was. So I went back to school again. You know, learning always is good for the soul, so to speak. And I went to a wonderful school of coaching where they could take those skills that are required in coaching and they combine them with a very strong neuroscience background. So I was in heaven. I could make that link now, finally, between those soft skills and what was happening on a neuroscience level. So what I did was I took all these skills, my knowledge, my scientific knowledge, my coaching abilities, my passion, and I developed a program. I started to develop my own niche where I belonged, and smart leadership coaching was born. And through this, I created a program called Catalyst for Results. And my goal, or my mission, is to empower others like me to become people of influence. And I don't mean just to become the president of Pfizer. It's talking about becoming able to influence what you want, where you want to go, where you want to be. And to become that person of influence, that leader, you can't just become a knowledge peddler. You have to move on from there. So I challenge you to join me, to partner with me, to take yourself on this journey where you too can become a leader in the place where you belong and get the results that you so deserve. Remember, get in touch with me. I'm here to serve you and help you find your success in your DNA. Thank you.